Hi, welcome to Rowan University. I'm Associate Teaching Professor Megan Bucknum.
And I'm Assistant Teaching Professor Lou Thomas.
In our roles within the Department of Geography, Planning, and Sustainability, our job is to research and understand the pressing issues facing our disciplines and communities, and share this information with both the students in our classrooms and the people in our region.
In the video you're about to watch, Megan and I question the role of street trees in urban landscapes. And then we visit representatives from the New Jersey Tree Foundation to learn more about implementing street tree programs.
We've designed this learning module in an accessible format for people of all ages. So before you press play, consider inviting folks from your home, block, or neighborhood to join you to learn about the magic of street trees.
Whoa, Megan, what's up with all these pretend trees? Are we building a pretend forest?
Not quite, Lou. I was setting this up so that we can think and talk about
The magic of street trees.
I get that trees are nice. I mean, I like trees too. But do we really need them on every street? I mean, some of my favorite streets don't have any trees. Think about the Italian market in Philly. It's so vibrant, but there's no trees. I mean, trees, they have their own issues, maintenance problems, things drop. And also, you're a professor. Like, what are you doing talking about magic?
Well, Lou, I think when you learn about the depth and breadth of benefits that can come from planting more street trees, I think you might come to see the magic of street trees. Here, Lou, let me show you what I mean. Take a closer look at this tree. Let me help you.
Okay. What is in here? We've got a little bee. We've got a butterfly. Oh, okay. We've got a spider. Oh. And we've got a bat?
A bat.
I mean, Megan, butterflies, they're beautiful, but like bees can sting and bats and spiders are scary.
Well, all of these little creatures, they love street trees. They love being able to live in them. And all of them, including the bat and the spider, are all pollinators.
Pollinators are insects or animals that help transport pollen from one plant to another. They're what's needed to have far more plant life and all different types of plant life around us, which is an indicator of biodiversity. Also, pollinators, even the bat and spider, are crucial to food production. Can you imagine a summer without Jersey tomatoes or sweet corn?
No, I need my Jersey tomatoes.
Me too.
So, I mean, okay, I get it. Pollinators, great. But do we really need them on every street? I mean, can't trees be in parks and like along rivers?
Well, let's keep going. Let's see if I can convince you. Take a look at this tree. Let me help.
Okay, Megan, enough with all the games and the toys. What do we have here?
How else could I get you to really see all of the air
Around us, street trees help improve air quality by trapping pollutants and creating more oxygen for us to breathe.
Okay, I like clean air as much as the next guy. You're making some really good points, but I'm still a little skeptical. What else do you got?
Okay. Take a look at this tree.
Megan, what is this?
Well, trees are great places to play on. We can put swings on them, we can play on them, in them, and around them.
Okay, so you mean to tell me you want me to plant some trees on my street, and then you want me to invite the neighborhood kids to play on them? No, thank you. My own kids are loud enough.
Well, maybe magic isn't for everyone. But Lou, I think it was really important for me to remind us that we need to design places and spaces for people of all ages.
We can't only think about adults that use spaces. There are all sorts of different ages of people that use the spaces. And isn't that important? Speaking of designing for all, take a look at this tree.
Okay, now we've got our little squirrel friend. We've got a chipmunk. Okay, chipmunks are cute. And last but not least, oh, we've got a blue jay.
Street trees provide homes for all sorts of animals. The squirrel and chipmunk can run up and down, and the blue jay can use the branches to build a nest
And raise their young.
So street trees are kind of like apartments for animals? That's pretty cool.
I agree. One
Might even call it magic.
Connecting people with nature and wildlife is really important. We can create places where folks can look and listen to birds and listen to their songs. We can watch wildlife run up and down our streets and parks. And it's a simple reminder that we are part of something bigger. We are all part of nature. That wildlife reminds us that we belong to nature.
And when we are surrounded by nature, we might also really feel happier and healthier. Take a look at this tree.
Oh, Megan. You shouldn't have. These are beautiful.
These sunflowers are here to help you understand the biophilic benefits of nature.
Bio what?
Biophilia. It's a term that was popularized by a scientist named E.O. Wilson, and it refers to our innate desire to want to be in nature, to be in and around nature and living things. So let's try something out. Lou, hold these sunflowers. You at home, close your eyes. Imagine a natural area. It could be a meadow with tall native plants, or it could be a forest full of trees. Whatever it is, close your eyes and pretend that you are there. Take a big, deep breath in and out. What do you hear? What do you see? Can you hear a breeze? Do you hear any animals? Take one more breath in and out. Now, do you feel a little bit more calm?
You know, Megan, I do. So trees are like nature's medicine? That's pretty cool, too.
Well, I'm glad you think so, Lou. But I've saved the best for last. Let me help you take a look at this tree. This is another one that you'll need to use your imagination for. Are you up for it?
I think so.
Pretend it's last August, the second week of the month, and it's very hot outside. And you go out onto your stoop to try to catch a breath of fresh air or even catch a breeze. But the only thing that ends up happening is you end up just having the sun beat down on you even more. It's making you hotter and hotter.
Thanks for taking me back to last summer, Megan.
But fear not, because it's not last summer. It's this summer.
This summer, your street was planted with all sorts of street trees. And so those street trees become the shade that can block the sun
And creating more shade for the whole street.
That's like free air conditioning from nature. I like free. But wait, that reminds me of something else. Maintenance isn't free, and trees have lots of maintenance. In the fall, the leaves fall, and then there's like pine cones and fruit and those stinky ginkgo things. Ugh.
I mean, that's true. But Lou, all streets and sidewalks require maintenance. And when you're looking at the maintenance of pavement, actually, streets that have the right street trees planted on them can actually have less maintenance cost associated because the shade that the trees provide help prevent damage from the sun. So there's less cracks and less repairs. One might even call that magic.
Okay, Megan, you and your wand have convinced me. Street trees are magic.
Yes, they are. But funny enough, Lou, after spending all this time together, all of your questions have gotten me thinking about some of the best ways to plant street trees so that we can capture more of the benefits and less of the problems. Now I'm full of questions, but I met a new friend who is hosting a tree planting today in Camden, and they invited us. Let's go check it out and ask them some of our questions.
Let's go.
We went to the tree planting at Liney Ditch Park in Camden, organized by the New Jersey Tree Foundation. Around 50 volunteers came out in the rain, including many Rowan students and members of the First Harvest Credit Union. Together we planted 17 trees and cleaned up the park. We had hoped to interview Meredith Piccini and Crystal Wessel of the New Jersey Tree Foundation there, but with the rain, we rescheduled for a sunnier day.
So the tree planting day was such a rainy day that I met up with Meredith and Crystal from the New Jersey Tree Foundation on a much more sunnier, drier day to learn a little bit more about street trees. And we're here on a project that New Jersey Tree Foundation planted all of these trees.
So we are along the 600 block of Royden Street in the heart of Camden, New Jersey. And this is actually the site of our very first tree planting back in 2002. Before Crystal and I were employees here at the Tree Foundation, but it was our very first project.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love how they look up and down the block. It's beautiful. Can you all both tell me a little bit more about what you do?
So I'm the program director for our South Jersey program, where our base is in Camden. So most of our projects are in Camden. Basically, we just plant trees for anyone who wants them. So someone, a resident or like a community group or a church or a school, they reach out because they would like to see more trees on their property, on their block. And then we'll work with them to just basically walk up and down the block, knock on doors, see who else might want a tree, and then we organize a tree planting, and then we plant them all as volunteers.
And what about you, Meredith? What's your role with the New Jersey Tree Foundation?
So for about 6 years, I managed the Camden program, and then in 2023, I became the education person. So I focus on education, K through 12 and adults and beyond. So I organize all kinds of workshops and events for people to learn more about trees.
Gosh, I love that. Do you get anybody that has lots of questions around street trees and some of these educational programs?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Lots of questions come about when we plan a project or just in general about street trees.
Okay. Is anyone ever concerned about maybe having a tree in front of their house?
Sure. Sometimes there's questions about like uprooting the sidewalks with the roots, or is it too close to my utilities, or will it impact my house? So one thing the Tree Foundation is really big on is planting the right tree in the right place in the right way. It's important to select the correct tree species, but it's also really important to make sure that tree is properly planted. So what we do during the tree planting event is step by step talk to residents and volunteers about how to properly plant the tree so we know the tree is going to get off to the great start.
What's so great about trees in cities?
Well, trees are environmental powerhouses.
So one issue with the city is that often there's so much pavement that water doesn't have any place to go. Ends up down the storm drain, it carries pollutants with it, and it goes right to the nearest water body. By taking out a chunk of sidewalk, interrupting that pavement, and putting a tree in its place, you're allowing the stormwater to have a place to go. We have this tree pit here, so for 23 years, this tree has been taking out space of the concrete and absorbing and processing stormwater, breaking down contaminants into a less toxic form, preventing erosion with the roots, holding onto the soil, and also, bettering the air as well. The leaves will take in, fine particulates and will take in air and release clean, fresh oxygen for us to breathe. And by shading the buildings, you're also reducing the overall temperature in the city. So that urban heat island effect is being mitigated a little bit by having trees being planted. So all around, just a really cool powerhouse and a really great way to help reduce environmental issues in the city.
That is really magical and I feel like really helps me bulk up my argument that I keep having with one of my friends about how magical street trees really are. So Crystal, you mentioned a little bit about like how a tree planting might start, but what about a whole block like this? Or what about projects you have that aren't on a street?
Yeah, so most of our projects we do try and do street trees because we want to work really directly with residents. But we have had a lot of projects like at schools, for example. So we'll partner with a classroom and the class can like adopt the trees and they'll come out, they'll help us plant them. They'll help to water the trees and take care of them. Just down the street a few weeks ago, we planted like 30 trees around a church. So a bunch of the congregation came out to help plant, and then we had volunteers from all over. And now, instead of being a huge barren field, the church is surrounded by trees. And it is going to look so beautiful in a few years.
Oh, amazing. What are some of your other favorite projects that New Jersey Tree Foundation has done?
We had the 20th anniversary, I think, of this past couple years ago of the Camden Tree Planting Program, which was 2002, so 2022, and we had a big celebration. Ways down is a wonderful community garden called Cooper Sprouts, and we planted trees there, and we did trees throughout the general Cooper Plaza neighborhood. So a lot of people came out, residents we've worked with for decades, and it was just a really fun day. So that's probably one of my favorite projects.
Oh, so fun. Now, I think I already asked this a little bit, but tell me a little bit about some of the feedback you get from residents who might have never had a tree, in their backyard or front yard or on a street where they live. What's some of the feedback you get from residents after the trees have been planted?
So I think it's really interesting. So like I said, we only plant trees for people who want them. So we'll knock on doors. If the person doesn't want a tree for whatever reason, that's fine. They don't get a tree, we'll move on to the next house. But so many times after the trees are planted or during the planting, they'll come outside and be like, actually, the trees are really beautiful. Do you have any extras? Or how do I get one? And usually I don't have extra, so then we're like, okay, we'll have to put you on for next spring. And try to do another planting so we can get them in. So I think a lot of people are really hesitant at first because, especially if you're on a block with no trees, you can't even really imagine how it looks, but then once you see them go in and you see how beautiful it can look, then you're like, well, I don't want to miss out, I want a tree too. So, yeah, I would say generally the feedback is pretty nice.
Have you all ever gotten any negative feedback after the trees have been planted?
Definitely. Not from the people who received a tree, they wanted one. But there's always people who live down the block and they're like, why did you do this? I don't like trees. And, I wish that we didn't put trees here for some reason. And we're like, well, we didn't put a tree in front of your house. But your neighbor did want a tree, so we will try and talk to them about the benefits. It's going to create shade, it's going to create clean air, and sometimes it works on people, and sometimes people just don't like trees, and that's okay.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, absolutely. What have been that's some of the concerns, but what have been some of these any stories or anecdotes of people just loving their trees so much?
Well, I know in North Camden, residents will often put Christmas lights on their trees. So, like if you go down Erie Street, which is a main thoroughfare in that section, you'll see a bunch of beautiful trees that we've planted over the years, and you'll see decorations. Their tree pits are decorated. You got Christmas lights, little birdhouses, flowers, all kinds of stuff. People really take their tree pits and their trees very seriously, and it's so cute.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Crystal, do you have any stories of people just loving their trees so
I
much?
feel a lot of people that name their trees.
Yeah.
So just in my planting this past weekend, someone planted like 4 trees during the event, and she named every single one of them. And was like, I'm gonna take a picture of them, and every time I drive by this tree, I'm gonna say, like, there's my baby.
Can we walk a little bit? Can you all tell me what are some of the trees that are planted on this street?
So these trees are all hawthorn trees. They are a good, small, flowering tree, but they still have like a really nice canopy that creates a lot of shade. And they're a good option for if we're planting under wires. So over on that side of the street, there's telephone wires, and even here, it is a little tight. So we're very close to the buildings. The sidewalks aren't too big. So if we put something huge like an oak tree here, it would be way too much. But if we stick to these smaller trees, right tree, right place, we don't create problems in 50 years when the tree is, lifting up the sidewalk and getting into the power lines.
And look at their small trees, but when they really took off, like there was such a canopy over there. And that's beautiful. And there's some more gaps here, but they're still so beautiful. You can still, even with the tree, I still get the character of the neighborhood. I can see individuals' different homes and the pride they take in that. Yeah, I feel like these add some really magical elements. So I'm under the belief that street trees are magical. What do you all think? What's like a magical part of the street tree?
To me, I really like the wildlife that it supports. So when we were standing under the trees, like it was so loud because of all the birds singing.
True.
Which is something that you don't always get to hear in a city.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like walking through the park, and it's just very relaxing, and I just love the sounds of nature.
Me too. Meredith, how about you?
I really love I love seeing the trees going into the ground and the immediate after effect, right? It can really change the landscape. But I also love seeing neighbors coming together and making their block, like taking notice and making their block, really special by adding trees and, being able to pick their tree and being able to like learn about their trees. And then that they're helping with the air, they're helping with the water, and they're providing shade. And it's just so cool to see everybody come together unified around one project that happens to be trees.
That is so cool. Have you ever seen like neighbors who didn't know each other kind of come together and get to know each other during the planting?
Yeah, all the time.
That's
people
beautiful.
like who, have probably never interacted. They're like, oh, we're both getting a tree.
So let's say I'm in Camden. I'm watching this module, learning a little bit about clean air, and I want to be one of those magical blocks that have these street trees or a street tree. What could someone do to make their block look more like this block?
You can just call me. You can call me, email me, let me know that you would like to bring more trees to your block, and then I'll come meet with you. We'll knock on some doors, we'll talk to your neighbors, and then hopefully we can find enough people who also want trees. We typically do like at least 10 trees, so it's like a nice big project.
Yeah.
Once we get that, I find some volunteers, and then I show up here one Saturday morning with a bunch of trees and some volunteers, and we put them in the ground.
What if I don't have any money for these trees?
They are completely free.
Free?
They're free. There's no charge, no tricks.
No fun print.
We just ask that residents will water the trees for at least 2 years while they get established, because when we take the trees from the nursery, they're losing a lot of roots. They're a little stressed because they're in a new environment. So giving them water at least once a week for 2 years will really help those roots to get settled in the ground and to help your tree thrive.
You mentioned that residents could pick their tree. And we also learned today, right tree, right place is the key piece to this. So how much resident choice comes into, especially a block program like this?
Well, we want residents to take onus of their trees, and we want them to be a big part of this project. We don't just want to swoop in and just plant trees and we leave and then nobody knows about them. So we give residents options, and we also look at the space. So like when this project was being planned, thought was put in, how are these trees going to look 20, 30, 40 years from now?
Yeah.
Right? So we knew that hawthorns aren't going to get bigger than 25, 30 feet. We know they're not going to get to the electrical lines, which are the three thin lines at the top. And so planning ahead and offering those options and saying, okay, well, do you want this type of tree, or do you want a flowering tree? Do you want a non-flowering tree? Really helps residents, take onus and decide where and what type of trees are being planted. So if you're interested, if you like to learn more about trees, or you have school groups, adult education, let me know. Give me a call or shoot me an email, and I'd be happy to see if we can bring a program to your school or group, all free of charge.
If you want to learn more about trees, but maybe you're not sure about putting one in front of your own house, you are welcome to come out and join us in one of our tree plantings. We are always in need of people to help us get these trees in the ground. So just give me a call and come out and help us plant.
That's great. I think I'll be emailing you.
Great.
Now, with the help of my two new friends from New Jersey Tree Foundation, I think it's really safe for me to proclaim that street trees truly are magical.
Thank you.